So you're wanting to put up your first bluebird nest box, or you're trying to attract them to your yard in the first place, and you're wanting to know what direction that entry hole should face. That's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the common practices and advice, some other factors that really matter, and then also preference, because I think that's what a lot of people wonder about too when it comes to nest box direction. The common advice when it comes to which way the nest box needs to face is to go east or southeast, that kind of direction. And the reason for this is because it helps keep those westerly prevailing winds from just slamming the nest boxes. The thing about prevailing winds is it can change throughout the year a little bit, but it's still pretty commonly those westerly winds. So facing east, facing southeast, that's a pretty good, safe way to go. But there are some really important other factors that you need to consider when it comes to which way that hole should face. One of the things is, and this is probably one of the most important, is if you've got a pond or a pool and that nest box is pretty close to some kind of water feature, you don't want the hole to face over the water, because what will happen is when the fledglings take their first flight, there's nowhere else for them to go but in the water, and they're gonna drown. Maybe that is the eastern direction or the southeastern direction, but it would be more dangerous to face it that way. In that case, change it. I wouldn't, if you can avoid going full west, but at least, twist it to the side a little bit so it's not pointing directly into the water. Another thing is if you have multiple nest boxes, maybe, you're managing different species, and this is really encouraged to do, you don't want the holes to face each other. So if we're always facing east, that's not going to be a problem because all of the nest boxes are going to face east, so they wouldn't face each other. Face all the same direction here. Not face each other, but face the same cardinal direction. So that way there's not as much fighting, because you can kind of block the sight a little bit. I mean, there still might be some fighting, but it won't be quite as bad. The other thing to think about too is with those fledglings, they're not the strongest flyers in the very beginning. So you want to make sure that the hole maybe doesn't directly face, but at least in the line of sight faces a bush or a tree or some area of cover that when the fledglings take their first flight, because they're going to poke their heads out of the nest box first and see what's out there, but they're going to want to go to a place where there is cover. So if there is something close by, somewhere where, again, at least in that 180 view, they can, look around and see, oh, okay, there's a bush over that way, go. So that's something to think about when you are trying to face the nest box hole, is at least have some sort of cover, if available, some sort of cover in their line of sight. A question that a lot of people have, though, when it comes to which way the hole should face is preference. Is this going to influence preference? Is there a direction that bluebirds or tree swallows or chickadees prefer? The answer is no. There have been a lot of field studies. There's a reference list down below in the description, and if you want to read those studies, you can. They're kind of boring, but field researchers have gone out with different types of species of birds, and they have tested, they've presented nest boxes in all different directions, and they found that the birds just pick the nest box for whatever reason. They pick the nest box. It wasn't like a hard rule. So when it comes to preference, it's not so much about the cardinal direction, it's about the features that are in view in that direction. It's really about what protects your bluebirds. When you're thinking about which direction to face, think about the factors involved with that direction, not so much the direction itself. If you are wanting more information about bluebird care, cavity nesting bird care, I have a playlist all about bluebirds. This channel is all about backyard bird stewardship. The Nest Hollow website also has tons of resources available. So definitely check out the links in the description for more resources.